So thank you very much again also for organizing this session about career opportunities in UNDP. And I'm Lykke Andersen, and I'm the head of UNDP's Talent Acquisition and People Programs unit. Like, our unit is located in Copenhagen, and we are responsible for employer branding and for design of talent acquisition strategies and implementation of some very dedicated programs that aim at bringing in people with different skills and experiences to UNDP. And such a program includes, among others, the Junior Professional Officer program that I will talk a bit about a bit later. I've been working with UNDP for many years, and I joined as a young professional. I joined as a Junior Professional Officer. I'm from Denmark, and I joined and worked with one of UNDP's country offices. I worked in Kyrgyzstan. And after I completed my JPO assignment, I stayed with UNDP, and I've been working with different country offices. I've been working with our regional offices and also headquarters offices. And I've been also working in different areas, but with including program management, coordination, aid effectiveness, governance, capacity development, and now I'm working with human resources. So I have a very generalist profile, and in UNDP we are looking for people both with generalist profiles who have skills that can be transferred into different roles, and also have a general understanding and general knowledge about the operations of UNDP and also the different programs that we work on. But then in addition to that, we also are looking for people with more specialized skills, and also if you do a career in UNDP, you can also be like more of a specialist, like for instance, a specialist in governance, and developing and growing your career in that specific area. But you may share the next slide. So UNDP is the UN Development Organization, and we work overall in the area and to support sustainable development. And the Sustainable Development Goals underpins everything that UNDP does. And we work with governments in the global south to support the progress towards sustainable development. We also work with governments to find and test innovative solutions to sustainable development. And we also work on together with governments on monitoring progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals, and we advocate for the goals. And our main part, like our UNDP is a field-based organization, and that means that our work takes place in the field, in the developing countries, and where we work with the governments in the countries to progress towards sustainable development. So you may share the next slide. So, but specifically, we focus on 6 core development areas, or we also call them our signature solutions. And those areas are poverty and inequality, it's governance, it's resilience, it's environment, energy, and then gender equality. So those are the 6 development areas that we work in and where we have our expertise. And then also where we also have our expertise is in the integration, like the looking at the integrated solutions, because none of these areas can stand alone. They are all interlinked and integrated. And this is where UNDP has a specific strength, and expertises to come to look at integrated solutions to development challenges. And if you are interested in learning more about UNDP and the program and the areas where we work, I would recommend that you visit our website, and that you also take a look at our strategic plan. The current strategic plan covers the period 2022 to 25. And you can also take a look at our recent annual report from covering last year, where you will find a presentation of what we worked on and what were our achievements last year, with a specific focus, of course, on last year, and also who were our partners. Because also what is also with UNDP is that we work in partnerships. Like we work with the governments in the countries, in the developing countries, and we work with the civil society sector, and we work with the donor community, and we also work with the private sector. So we work in partnerships with a wide range of stakeholders to achieve development outcomes or to progress towards development outcomes. So you may move to the next slide. So UNDP is one of the UN organizations that has the largest field presence. Like we have, we are working in more than 170 countries, and we have offices or country offices in more than 128 countries. So we have we are located in almost all countries in among the developing countries, and have operations and implement programs there. Like our workforce comprise of more than 21,000 people, and this includes both people who are internationally recruited. We call people who are internationally recruited are categorized as international professionals. And then it also includes people who are nationally recruited, who are people from the country where we work or where we have the office, where we have our offices. And the largest part of our workforce consists of people who are nationally recruited or national personnel. Then we also have, we are really like a multicultural organization. We have people working with us from almost all of the different UN member states, and that also makes it a very, I think, makes it very exciting to work with our organization, but also creates creates a foundation for a lot of innovation and for different ways of thinking and openness and readiness to explore new ways of working and new ways of addressing and tackling problems. And we have a people strategy, and we call it the People for 2030. It's a strategy that sets out the objectives that we want to achieve when it comes to human resources in the organization. And you can also find our People for 2030 strategy on our website. So you may move to the next slide. So we, as I mentioned, we are we have a very large field presence, and we work we have offices in the 5 regions that you can see on this slide, and we call the offices that we have in the different countries are called country offices. And then in each region we also have regional offices. And the regional offices provide support to the country offices in that particular region. So you can see we work in Latin America and the Caribbean, we work in Africa, Arab states, Europe and Central Asia, and Asia and the Pacific. And in all these regions, we have programs in each of the countries. Then in addition to that, we have our headquarters in New York. And then we have representation offices in several countries, and we also have policy centers in several countries. And these policy centers focus on different different development areas, like for instance, sustainable development or governance or aid effectiveness as examples. So you can move to the next slide. So I hope you would be interested in joining UNDP because UNDP is a very, I think it's a very, I've been working with UNDP for many years, and I think there's not one day that is alike. Every day you are faced with new challenges and new problems that you need to find solutions to. You experience you get a lot of opportunities to grow and develop, and also to test and implement new solutions and new ideas to tackling problems and addressing challenges. So also, if you are interested in joining UNDP, you would join an organization that really values input from colleagues and stakeholders and partners across the UN system. And you would also be working with a community of people who collaborate and who care, and people who work together with a shared sense of purpose, because working with UNDP is not just a job, it's contributing to the overall objectives of UNDP, it's contributing to the objective of peace and development in the world, and it's contributing to the mandate of the overall of the UN overall. So there's like you would find working with UNDP, you will find that people are highly committed, and they really they will, like, every day people go the extra mile to deliver on our development promises. So you may move to the next slide. So also you would also be joining an organization where we demand and encourage innovative thinking, because also, like, our goals and the goals of the sustainable development goals are very ambitious, and the world is fast changing. So we have to every day we have to think outside of the box, and we have to think new, think and explore and test new ways of addressing problems, because we cannot continue to do and implement solutions that were part of that as we did it in the past, and maybe some of these solutions were also part of the problem itself. So really innovative thinking is a high priority in UNDP, and there's a lot of room for and space for creative input and as I mentioned before, like for testing new ideas. So you will be given the freedom to contribute in your original and in your unique way. And next slide, please. So also in UNDP, there are also opportunities, lots of opportunities for personal growth. As I mentioned earlier, in my long experience with UNDP, I have felt every day, every month, every year that I'm growing. Even when you get to at my age, I even feel, and with my experience, I feel every day that there are new challenges that require new ways of thinking, and that also require me to learn and to grow. And you will always, I think often, and especially if you're open and ready for growth and learning, that you will often find that you are a bit on your toes, because you will always, like, you will find that you will have to stretch yourself to deliver and to achieve objectives. And we also put high priority to empowering our employees so that they can grow not only professionally but also personally. And there are many opportunities for building your career journey, like through either learning activities, continuous learning, and different type of stretch assignments. And also when you join, if you join as an international professional, you'll be expected to reassign to different roles on a regular basis, because that's part of being an international professional is that you have to reassign. Like, you cannot stay in the same role from throughout your career with UNDP. And every new assignment is an opportunity for growth and learning. So you can turn to the next slide. So also, if you are interested in joining UNDP, like, we are looking for, I think we are looking for people with many different profiles. Like, it's as you may recall, I talked about our 6 signature solutions. So we look for people who have expertise, who have experience, who have technical knowledge in those areas related to our signature solutions. Like, so we look for people who have maybe a legal background, like a background in rule of law or human rights or public administration. Look for people who have more backgrounds in environmental management, climate, energy, peace and development, disaster risk reduction. We look for people who have an economic background and like poverty, like who know, like on poverty reduction, economic development, and so on and so forth. So in addition to those more like dramatic profiles, we also look for people who have more like a background in business operation. And this is like people who may have a background in human resources, finance, procurement, legal, lawyers. Also on the programmatic side, program management, monitoring and evaluation, partnerships and communications, and so on and so forth. So we look like we have our needs for technical profiles is very diverse. You can turn to the next slide. So also, what do we look for in candidates? So we, of course, we look for the specific technical profile that is required for the job. And in that relation, we look for relevant educational degrees. That can be a master's degree or a bachelor degree. And then we look for relevant professional experience. Then we also look for people who have who meet the language requirements, like English. Everyone who for all positions, and especially positions as international professionals, you need to be able to work in English, because English is our cross-organizational working language. But then it's always also an advantage to speak, to be proficient in one of the other UN working languages, and also depending on the position, that can also be a requirement to be fluent in French and Spanish or Arabic. And it's always an asset to have prior field or development experience, and especially field experience, and for people who are applying for positions in our program areas is highly valued. and then like we offer opportunities both in the field, in our different duty stations in the field, in the crisis countries where we work. We also offer opportunities in our regional offices, in headquarters. And we are looking for both people, as I also mentioned before, for both people who have a more specialist profile, but also for generalists. And then we are very interested in getting people who are very dynamic and flexible and passionate. And flexibility is a key, is a key advantage, like when you join UNDP, because you have to be flexible. Flexibility and innovation also goes together, but you also have to be flexible in terms of being ready and open-minded to rethink your own perceptions and your own ways of working, because you will be challenged when you join UNDP, or you'll be challenged because we are like such a diverse, we have such a diverse workforce. So there's not one way of doing things, and we have to be open and flexible, also rethink our own ways of working. And then we are also looking for, always looking for women who are encouraged to apply because we have also a strong focus on gender parity in our workforce, and we're also looking focus and on diversity in the workforce. So we're also encouraging other underrepresented groups to apply to positions in UNDP. So you can turn to the next slide. So on this next slide, you see an overview of the job requirements. It's a bit the summary of what I just talked about. But these are the requirements that you need to meet in order to be to progress in the recruitment process and to be also considered for a position. So when you when you read a vacancy announcement, or look at a vacancy announcement on like for a position with UNDP, you will see that we have a section that is called minimum requirements, and that section includes educational background, and it also includes work experience and languages, and it may also include some professional certifications. So we will, for international professional positions, there will always be an educational requirement which relates to the academic degree, and for professional positions, you must hold a master's degree or a bachelor degree plus 2 years of additional work experience. And so the educational degree is a minimum requirement. Then the other minimum requirement is the work experience. So depending on the level of the position, depending on the level of the position, there will be different years of work experience requirement. So if you are a young professional, you may be looking at positions for the at the international professional level, which would be P1 or the P2 level. So for those entry-level positions, there would be either no, for the P1 level, there's no requirement of years of work experience if you hold a master's degree. If you hold a bachelor degree, it's 2 years of work experience. For the P2 level, it would be 2 years with a bachelor degree or 4 years with 2 years with a master's degree or 4 years with a bachelor degree. And you can see on the left side of this slide, you can see an overview of the of the years of experience that is required for different levels of positions. So that's also important when you review the vacancies and you look for jobs. Also look at the level of the position, look at the years of work experience requirement, because when you see the work experience requirement, you can also see what is the level, what is the seniority level of the position. And if you don't meet the years of work experience, like, you would not be considered for the position. And then there's the other requirement is minimum requirement is language. And then we have a set of competences, like we have our core competences, and then we have cross-functional competences and technical competences. And these are competences that you will also find in the vacancy announcement. And we would be assessing these competences in the recruitment process. So they will be assessed through different methodologies that I will also talk about a bit later. And then also another requirement is also the values, that we're also looking for people who demonstrate our core values in UNDP. So we can move to the next slide. So we have different entry paths, and this is also when you are looking at the job side and the vacancy announcement, you will see that we have different type of contracts, so different type of categories that where we are looking for people. So we have the category which is called the staff category, and this is people who are appointed on something that is called on a fixed term appointment or temporary appointment. And this is the professional and director staff and the national officers and also general service staff. And you will see when you read our vacancy like on the job side, you will see the fixed term appointments and temporary appointments. And when you see those reference to those modalities, this is referred to the staff category. But then we also have another category, which is personal service agreement. And this is also a contract modality, which is more like related, and where we also have it both for international and national positions. So these are more like shorter term, more project related type of contracts. Then we have the junior professional officer program, and we also have a graduate program, which is for candidates from our program countries. And then we have the UNV program. We also have a series of internship positions, and then we have consultancies. So there are many different entry paths to UNDP, and if you are, when you are looking, my recommendation is also to be flexible when you're looking for jobs with UNDP, because if you are not already in the organization and you don't have any experience with UNDP, like, your first objective is to get an entry point into our organization, and that can be through different avenues, and often it could be through more short-term assignments with our organization, for instance, as a consultant or as a temporary project staff, personnel. So also be flexible. Don't only look, for instance, for if you are young. Don't only look for JPO positions, because also maybe the opportunities through the JPO program could be also limited, but there could be other opportunities also through some of these other modalities. Yes, next slide. So I talked about the internship opportunities, And you will find all our internship positions are advertised on our job site. And we do offer internships both in our headquarters and also in our country and regional offices. And our internship program is decentralized. And that means that the respective offices who are looking for interns will advertise the position on our job site. But in order to be eligible as an intern, you must be either enrolled in your last year of the bachelor program, or be in your master's program, or be within the first year from graduation. And the normal duration is 6 months. And an internship, if you're young and you don't have much work experience and you're still a student, I think an internship is an excellent opportunity to get some work, some experience with UNDP and some insight into our organization, and also to build a network within our organization. So I can highly recommend, if you are interested, that you explore the possibility for doing internships with UNDP. So next slide. Then we also have the Junior Professional Officer Program, and I've talked about it before, but this is a program that offers entry-level professional positions. And the positions under the JPO program is at the P2 level. So it means that if you are to be considered eligible for the JPO program, you have to hold a master's degree and 2 years of relevant work experience, or a bachelor degree and 4 years of relevant work experience. And Raquel has been at JPO and will share more about her JPO experience, I think. And the government, the JPO program is limited to young professionals funded by of young professionals from the country that is funding the program, because the program is funded by donor countries, and Portugal funds supports the JPO program and also offers a few JPO positions with UNDP that could maybe also be interesting for you. Then if you move to the next slide. And then another opportunity could also be the UNV program. That's also an excellent opportunity for getting some experience with UNDP, and UNDP offers also international UNV positions. And the UNV program is a UN-wide program, and there are UNV positions in many different UN organizations. And if you are interested in the UNV program, I would recommend that you visit the website of the UNV organization. But it's an excellent opportunity to also get experience, and also to get exposure and to contribute to the work of the UN system. So you can turn to the next slide. So you'll find all the positions and vacancies with the UNDP on our job portal at jobs.undp.org. And here you can search for positions with per country, per region, and per area of work. And as I mentioned, also the internship positions are all advertised on the UNDP job site. And my recommendation is that you visit our job site on a regular basis. If you are if you are interested, I would recommend to visit it for instance, every month or every 2 weeks. And even if you're not actively job searching, it's good to visit it regularly, because you'll get some insight and an understanding of what are the type of roles that we offer and what are the type of profiles that we are looking for. and that can also inform your career decisions. So really recommending to visit our job site on a regular basis. But then also, if you're interested in work with other UN organizations, you should also check the job sites of those other organizations, because each UN organization has its own job site. So you can move to the next, turn to the next slide. And also another where you can also find job offers on social media. We don't advertise all our jobs on social media, but many positions are also put on social media. So I would highly recommend that you also follow us on social media, so that you can keep yourself informed about our vacancies and what is happening on the people side and career side in our organization. So you can turn to the next slide. I'll talk now about our recruitment process. So here on this slide, you see an overview of a high-level overview of the recruitment process. But the first step in the process is to visit our job site, because all our vacancies are advertised on the job site. And when you review the job site and you find a vacancy that is of interest to you, and where you also may think that, oh, this is actually, I think I have the right profile for this, then really take time to read it carefully and to understand what are the requirements. Because as I mentioned before, if you don't meet the minimum requirements of the position, which relates to academic degree and background, relevant work experience, language requirement, then you would not be considered for the position. But then if you have assessed that I do meet these requirements and also do have the relevant work experience, and I have something to offer for this position, then you should go in and you will be asked to create an online profile and an application. And you'll also be asked to respond to several questions. So you'll be asked to respond to questions related to your background and your experience. And then once you have uploaded and submitted your application, then we will be, and after the vacancy has closed, we will start to evaluate the applications. And the first phase of the evaluation is to look at whether candidates meet those minimum requirements. So people who don't meet the minimum requirements, or applicants who don't meet the minimum requirements, will be screened out. So that's also where, if you don't meet the minimum requirements, you will not be taken into consideration. And then once we have compiled a list of people who meet the minimum requirements, we are looking at their experience. Do they have a relevant experience for the position? And then based on the experience, and if you don't have relevant experience for the position, you will also not be considered. But then once we have reviewed the experience, we will also compile another list of people, of all the people who meet the minimum requirements and who have the relevant experience for the position. And then the next phase is that we will start to review carefully the applications of people, and we will also invite for the assessment. So we will invite in the first assessment phase. We often, depending on the position, in most cases, we'll invite people, the candidates, to do a written assessment or a pre-recorded video interview. Over time, we may also start to use more tests, because we are currently looking at applying more, at also using tests like reasoning ability tests or situational judgment tests. So this is what we will do in this second phase of the process, which is the assessment phase, where you will be invited to do a written test. You may be invited to do a pre-recorded video interview or another type of test. Then the people who score, or the candidates who score highest in this exercise, will be moved on to the last phase, which is the competency-based interview. And here we will be inviting candidates for an interview where we will be asking questions related to some of the competences that are critical for the position. And you can Google. There's a lot of information about competency-based interviews on the internet. But basically, the principle of the competency-based interview is that the past behavior will also predict future behavior. So you will be in the interview. You'll be asked to share experiences from your, or to share examples from your previous experience. And then those candidates who are recommended for the position following the competency-based interview, for those we will collect references. You will always, when you are submitting an application to a position in UNDP, you will always be asked to include 3 references. And then in the very last phase, we will reach out to your references and ask them to submit a reference. And then when the final decision has been made on who should be the final candidate, you would receive a notification. So this is like just very high level for you to understand the process of recruitment. So we can move to the next slide, and which is also the last. So I think also about this, here I just wanted to share a few tips, because what is really, really important is that you read the job description, the vacancy announcement carefully, and that when you submit your application, that you have built a logical thread in the application, so that the person who is reviewing your application can gets a clear understanding of your experience in relation to the position that you're applying to. So you should highlight in your application, you should highlight experience that is relevant for the position that you're applying to. And do invest time into preparing a good application. And I already mentioned that if you don't meet the minimum requirements of the position, it's like you would not be considered. And also if you are invited, if you move on in the process and you're invited for the next phase, also do prepare well, and do your homework in terms of understanding the job content and understanding the context of the role, and also understanding UNDP's work, and if it's in one of our areas related to the signature solution, understand what are our strategies in those areas. And also if you're invited for a competency-based interview, do also review the job description, the vacancy, the job description, to identify the competences that are presented in the job description, and then think about examples from your previous experience that you could possibly share to demonstrate that you have experience and that you master the respective competences. And also when you before you apply, what is really, really important is that before you apply to any position, also do consider whether this is really a position for you, and if you are really ready to take on the position, because also the position would be in another country, in another location. So also do consider, am I ready to move to that location? Am I ready to take on an international role in, for instance, UNDP? So I think I've come to the end, and I also had a video, but I think we can drop that video, because you can watch it yourself. I think maybe it's more better to spend the time on the discussion.